Welcome to Karma's Harvest. Marcus believed he could manipulate the justice system, just as easily as he manipulated his victims. But the courtroom was about to become his final reckoning. What happened next changed everything. Have you ever witnessed the exact moment a master manipulator realizes they have lost total control? Following his dramatic arrest at the public library, Marcus was remanded to the county jail. Stripped of his designer clothes and luxury lifestyle, he was forced to trade his tailored suits for a bright orange jumpsuit. But the arrogance of a seasoned con artist does not fade easily. Using a hidden cache of emergency cash he had buried years ago, Marcus hired one of the most ruthless and expensive criminal defense attorneys in the state. He walked into the courtroom for his trial with a distinct air of superiority, genuinely believing that the law was just another system waiting to be gained. The trial began, and the atmosphere in the heavy mahogany room was suffocating. Eleanor, the retired corporate attorney, who had spearheaded the Victims Coalition, sat in the front row, holding the hands of single mothers, college students, and elderly residents who had lost their savings. When they took the stand, their testimonies were heartbreaking. They spoke of broken trust, financial ruin, and the deep psychological scars left by Marcus's grand deception. It was a powerful display of vulnerability and truth. But Marcus's lawyer was a shark. During cross-examination, he callously painted the victims as naive investors in a failed business venture, arguing that Marcus hadn't committed intentional fraud, but was simply a terrible businessman who panicked when his gym went bankrupt. Then came the critical moment that made the victim's blood run cold. The defense attorney filed an emergency motion to suppress the prosecution's most damning piece of evidence: the encrypted flash drive containing the millions in stolen cryptocurrency. The lawyer argued that Eleanor's coalition had illegally tampered with the drive's firmware to track Marcus's location and bypass his passwords. He cited strict federal wiretapping and digital privacy laws, claiming it was a textbook case of illegal search and seizure by a vigilante group. The courtroom held its collective breath as the judge reviewed the statutes. With a heavy sigh, the judge slammed his gavel and agreed with the defense. The digital honeypot evidence was ruled inadmissible. A smug, sickening smile spread across Marcus's face. Without the digital trail tying him to the laundered millions, he was looking at a minor misdemeanor for reckless accounting, a charge that carried little more than a few months of probation. The victims in the gallery began to weep, feeling the crushing, agonizing weight of being victimized a second time. The justice system was failing them, bound by the very rules meant to protect the innocent. But Marcus had forgotten one crucial detail. Eleanor never laid a trap without having a checkmate ready. Before the defense could rest their case, the prosecution called Eleanor back to the stand for rebuttal testimony. She didn't look defeated. She looked like a predator who had finally cornered her prey. She calmly produced a thick sealed folder and submitted it to the judge. Eleanor explained that when Marcus originally sold those heavily discounted lifetime gym memberships, a large portion of them were purchased by a local senior citizens rehabilitation center. What Marcus didn't know was that the center's wellness program was directly funded by a comprehensive grant from the United States Department of Health and Human Services. By unknowingly accepting and laundering those specific checks, Marcus hadn't just committed local wire fraud against individuals. He had directly defrauded the United States federal government. The air in the courtroom shifted instantly. Marcus's smug smile vanished, replaced by an ashen mask of pure terror. His high-priced lawyer immediately stopped writing and slowly closed his briefcase. Realizing the catastrophic legal reality, defrauding a federal agency triggered massive mandatory minimum sentences, and it completely bypassed the local evidence suppression. As Eleanor finished her testimony, the heavy wooden doors at the back of the courtroom swung open. Two United States federal marshals stepped inside, their badges gleaming under the fluorescent lights. The judge looked down at Marcus with absolute disgust and officially transferred jurisdiction of the case. to the federal courts denying bail permanently. Marcus's knees gave out and he collapsed back into his chair, the horrifying realization washing over him that he would be spending the next 20 years in a federal penitentiary without the possibility of parole. Karma didn't just win the trial, it rewrote the entire rulebook. Next time on Karma's Harvest, we will explore the shocking story of a ruthless corporate executive who illegally fired his entire department just to secure a massive holiday bonus, only to discover that his new billionaire boss was hiding a devastating family secret. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of true justice.